this is a community event, so it's people from all around. Dallin, Melissa, Chris. We've got just, great Bill's always here. We've got great community members that show up and want to help these entrepreneurs. The purpose is to give them helpful feedback. It's to help them refine their pitch. It's not to be in front of a room of investors, because that's not what we're here for. We're here to help them be their best when they are in front of a room of investors or sales. And so that's something we want to really focus on and keep the purpose of 1 Million Cups. So I'm excited to kind of understand that a little bit better and to help the entrepreneurs in the feedback we get. So also, we want to be nice. We want to poke that soft underbelly, as we say here at RevRoad, but we want to be helpful in a positive way. So super excited that you guys have chosen to come and participate in this today. We have one presenter that we know is here, and we're super excited to hear from Kathy with SOS, and she'll be our first presenter. How many of you have the app downloaded on your phones? There is a 1 Million Cups app, Provo. If you download that on your phone and you check in, you sometimes can be, we have a prize. Today it's a mug or tumbler, however they call that. Really great 1 Million Cups cup. Yeah, you can hold a hot or cold beverage in it for hours, I think, and then represent as you use that around town. So make sure you download the app and check in. It also gives you kind of a bird's eye view ahead of time. Who's presenting for the next week. A little bit about the presenter, a little bit about their company, and then it also gives you opportunities to give feedback through the app as well, okay? So make sure you check in. And then we also have our social media sponsor, who is Pouch. This is a list of our fantastic sponsors. And Pouch Media, Becca and Kyle do a great job with getting some social media aspects out there on Instagram. So make sure you follow 1 Million Cups Provo on Instagram. So take a look at all of our sponsors. We're super grateful for all of their volunteered services and support. And if you have any desire to be on this banner, reach out to one of us organizers. We'd love to make that happen. Okay, so we will turn the time over to SOS.
You actually get two of us today. Woohoo! Ah, good, a second mic. Oh my gosh, and I can't see faces. I guess that just tells me that I can't see the lack of women in the audience. Thank you for those of you who are here. Okay, as we start, we're the co-founders of SOS Apps Incorporated. I'm Kathy Callahuser, and my partner.
I'm Charles Major.
We co-founded SOS Apps together in 2017. I'm an educator. I've been an educator for 20 years, but I started my career as a software engineer, and now I'm back in that world with a small business doing app development.
I've done a whole variety of things. I did work in California at Google and then a couple tech startups, so it's relevant background.
And I like the fact that he can say Google, so we have fun with that. Okay, we actually have an app incubator that we call Betterment Labs. That's where we develop our software, and then as we have products, we spin them off into an appropriate corporation. So what we're going to talk to you about today are our suite of safety apps developed under Betterment Labs, but distributed through SOS Apps Incorporated. So first, we're going to talk about SOS Safe at School Incident Management System. So since Columbine, there's lots of fear. Schools have retrofitted their buildings with bulletproof glass, door locks, safety guards, emergency plans, all kinds of things. They've invested in cameras and all of the kinds of hardware that they hope to keep them safe. But surveys indicate that kids still don't feel safe in schools. And this is a low-risk incident, but kids don't feel safe in schools. A large part of that, though, is due to the bullying they experience. But no state in the nation is immune from school shootings, and I think they're all too relevant to us right now, given the 3 that happened in a week just a week ago. And what we know is that school shooters typically come from within schools, students, partners of staff, or partners of students. They know the bell schedules, they know that the room layout, the classroom layout, they know where the security guards are, they know all of those things about a school that make school shootings so deadly. And schools often don't identify red flag students, in part because there's no one profile. It's really hard to determine who that next school shooter is going to be. We started developing this applications software as a service in January of 2018. Right after that, Parkland happened. So we've studied Parkland extensively, and what we've learned is that whether active shooters or just disruptive students, we've got a problem because teachers have responsibility for so many students in a classroom. The stress makes it hard to remember what to do, particularly if they're using tools that aren't frequently used tools, and there's inadequate communication. So a personal story, I was in a lockdown drill in an elementary school in a rural area, and I was coaching the teacher. A lockdown drill happened. I ended up in the bathroom in that room because it was an early grades classroom and it had a bathroom in the room with 18 first grade students and 3 other adults in a bathroom for over an hour. We had no idea what was going on. We couldn't communicate. We didn't know what to do, and we're trying to keep first graders calm. Communication is a big deal. So we want to know, how can an overflowing toilet help keep schools safe? We want a tool that people can use every day so that in an emergency when stress is high, they don't lose it. So what's our solution? Well, the first solution part is practice. Practice every day. Use a tool every day that has meaningful use in a school so that people will know how to use it in a stressful situation. We wanted to create a tool that helped people track and resolve all incidents affecting school, student, and staff safety. We wanted the ability to have immediate responses so that it would decrease the stress and promote action. And we also wanted targeted communication with real-time updates because remember, active shooters know what goes on in a school. So that will help increase safety. I've had lots of experience with behavior problems and other situations in schools. I taught in middle schools and high schools. I've had angry students come in a door in the classroom with 40 other students there and just rage in my face. I couldn't get to the phone. They were blocking the door. They were blocking the phone, and they were preventing me from doing anything. Things escalate out of control quickly in those situations. I had a student bring brass knuckles into my classroom and threaten a student with disabilities. That's a real life occurrence that happens in many teachers' classrooms. And that same student threw that same student with disabilities through the trophy case at the front of the school, but he knew it was out of line of sight of the video cameras. Incidents like this happen every day in schools. They aren't of the magnitude of school shooters, but they're clearly behavior problems that need to be addressed quickly and effectively. So we not only developed a tool that solved the active shooter problem, it also helps when there's students fighting in the hallway, when there's overflowing toilets, when there's vomit on the floor, broken glass, and even fires. Our tool will handle any safety incident affecting a school. So it helps you report incidents with a clean interface that lets you get right into the application. It helps you prioritize the emergency level of an incident, whether it's an emergency, it's just urgent, or whether it just needs to be taken care of sometime today. And this screen is customizable to meet school needs. They can change this to meet any of the kinds of incidents they typically have happen in their school. So those details let you just check a box quickly rather than having to type out a message, and it sends those messages immediately to school administrators and whoever else is set up within the notification system of the school. Within this system, you can see all incidents, and this isn't available just for iPhones, it's also available on desktop and laptop computers. So you can view all incidents in a school, and you can immediately see their priority levels by the color of the bar, and you can see the type of incident that they are and where the location is. You can manage incidents. So somebody in the school can take control of an incident and become that first responder to give directions out to everybody that needs to do anything with the incident. They can send out reunification points if it's an emergency. They can send out emergency plans in real time if plans need to change because of the type of the emergency. You can communicate with all staff necessary and involved in a particular incident. What this means, though, is if you've got an overflowing toilet, you don't disrupt the whole school. It only notifies the people that need to know about that overflowing toilet. If you've got an active shooter, it would notify everybody in the building, plus automatically notify 911 emergency dispatch. So the correct people to be involved in an incident are the ones who are notified. It helps staff report whether they're safe or unsafe, and I was going to have access with my pointer, but I can't get to access. So at the top, you can see the green bar marked safe. That allows a teacher to mark whether or not their classroom is safe, or the red is not safe. And they can track all students. So if I'm a teacher that has sent some of my children to the library, I can mark that they're not in my proximity right now. If I've got extra kids in my room for reading instruction, I can immediately add them in to say I've got responsibility for those children right now in an incident. So it allows students to be tracked in real time, and it allows everybody to see which students are not yet accounted for. So we're working right now to get this out into schools' hands. We finished the coding for this in May and did some beta testing. Our fees are $1,000 to $5,000 for onboarding, which is in getting kids in the system, staff in the system, putting in school floor plans, all of the things that need to be done, and then an $800 to $5,000 annual licensing fee based on school size and the features that schools opt to use. We offer discounts for whole district licensing and for multi-year contracting. So we've got lots of competitive advantages. Our biggest one is daily use. No other system out there for school safety that's a software tool is designed for daily use. We also have a single press emergency button for active shooters. If there is an active shooter in the building, it only takes one button press to send that notification out to the right people. We are the only ones that have dynamic response plans where you can update plans in real time if your static plans that you practice all the time in drills don't work for this situation. So dynamic plans can be sent out in real time, particularly when school safety is the priority. We are completely customizable. There's many features in our system that can be customized to directly meet school needs. All schools are different. They have different needs. They have different types of incidents. Our interface allows all of those things to be customized. We track and analyze incident data. This helps schools develop better emergency plans to meet legal needs, to address interventions that might be needed in the school to manage student behavior. And I'm an educator and a software engineer, so I understand the complexities of designing a user interface that works for school settings, and I get the software, so that helps. We have a competitive comparison table that I can hand out. I brought pieces of paper. It lists all of the advantages of our software plus the features of our 5 key competitors. We are the only ones that have the daily use, dynamic plans, fully customizable interface. Those 3 features distinguish us from other software applications designed for school safety. So we've gotten lots of feedback in our beta testing. It's easy to use. It meets the needs of schools. They like the data tracking and the student tracking ability. Lots of positive feedback as we did customer discovery, and we were out for beta testing the last 3 weeks of the school year. The market, well, it's a big market. There's 132,000 schools in the US, 76 million students, and about 7 million teachers. So we can scale. But beyond that, we're looking at pivoting to other markets. We're doing customer discovery right now in the medical arena to determine what changes would be needed to our system to work well in a hospital or clinic setting. A bigger market than schools, potentially, maybe not larger in terms of numbers, but lots more money in the medical arena. We can also use our system in other settings like office buildings, churches, community events like sporting events and concerts and street markets and things like that. Okay, I'm going to turn it over to you.
Alrighty. So we also have a consumer safety app called SOS Safe on Scene. We're also going to use this as the student version for Safe at School. And so what we know about active shooters is that they target the phone notifications. So if there's a dark room, the light of a phone, or the sound, the vibrations, any of that become targets for an active shooter. So what Safe on Scene does is, let's see. Okay, so the advice that Homeland Security gives is to turn off your phone in an active shooter situation, but it is a lifeline. No one wants to turn off their phone. It's the only way they're going to be able to get a hold of anyone, their loved ones. Excuse me. So there's a problem here. So we have Safe on Scene, which has the feature of lockdown, which just quickly turns off the phone notifications. It has the option to turn off the backlight if you're in a dark place, and it immediately texts 911. So the free version does all of that. And then we also have an annual subscription service where you can have it also text loved ones and send messages to them. And it sends all the essential information to 911 and these loved ones. And it has an ability to continue to send messages even when the screen's turned off by using just the top or the bottom of the screen. And the market for this is potentially quite large. There are 170 million adults with smartphones in the U.S., and then an additional 38 million young people with smartphones. And then there's the massive international market.
Want me to take over?
Oh, either way.
Okay, so we have a number of growth strategies in place. For direct marketing to schools right now and districts, we're increasing our visibility and networking. That's why we're here. We're working with consultants, particularly for strategic marketing and sales. We're doing investor pitches right now. We're looking for strategic partnerships and channel partnerships. We offer free downloads of SOS Safe on Scene, and we're developing a free download for SOS Safe at School right now, and we are priced very aggressively. Next one. Okay, so what are we looking for? We're looking for channel partners. We are nerds. We love to program. We love to talk to people in schools. We don't really love sales and marketing. We need channel partners. We're also looking for technology partners. For instance, we've talked to Atlas RTS. They've got a parent notification version that we're hoping to partner with them to incorporate into ours, so we have a parent version, not just a school and student version. And we're looking for funding partners. We are pre-revenue right now, working hard to get out into schools, so investment time is here. Okay, that was all of it. We're open for questions.
Okay, raise your hand.
Back in the back.
Hello? Is it? Hello? It is now? No? No, we're good? Okay. Okay, try now?
I can
Okay.
hear you.
All right. I remember your presentation last time you came to 1 Million Cups, and I try to recall if you said that kind of the spring and summer months were the kind of sell-in months for the schools.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm curious to what kind of traction you have received over that time.
So we live in Utah, and in March, our legislature kicked the bucket for the legislative budget down the road. They still, as of today, have not finalized the school budget for this school year for the state of Utah. So because we're in Utah and we've been trying to market mostly to school partners in Utah, we're struggling because they don't know what their school budgets are, particularly for Safe Schools money, and they're trying to push things off. So we're working hard to get charter schools on board right now. They have a little more flexibility. We're also looking for sales and marketing partners out of state to get us going out of state.
Well, have you talked to schools that have expressed interest, provided
Yes.
the budget is there?
We have. We've talked to a number of schools expressing interest. They're waiting to see what the school safety money looks like. Bad timing for us.
Love the idea. I was a school teacher in a previous life, special education, so I know what you're talking about. To me, the app looks very complicated, even as a teacher, to look at when you're talking about initially looking at it and inputting. There's too much on one page, and this is just feedback for you. To me, as a teacher, especially special education, I'm looking at it and going, I only want to push 1 or 2 buttons. There's way too many buttons to push. I'm stressing out because I've got kids that need help. So what you talked about was the teacher's stress level and kids' stress level. Need to look at reducing. It's easy to go to another page and have more information, but your page is way crowded. So the secondary thing in your presentations, I can read. Just recognize that you're reading the script there, and I can read also. So it's kind of maybe just work on that little presentation. We can read this information, just kind of just give tidbits of it. It'll have to go faster. Everybody can read this, what you're saying up there, but you don't need to repeat it for us.
Okay.
Just to kind of just to help you.
So what I'm hearing from that, take the words off the screen and use them to speak as opposed to having
you can leave the
them.
words on the screen and use less words yourselves.
Okay.
I mean, because we can all read, so it's kind of like we're just following along reading, and we're not getting the interaction with you personally, which is what you want. You want interaction
Sure.
with the crowd, so just kind of decide. But I love the idea. Let us know. I mean, I have some partners who do large school stuff for industrial, so they place all through the entire country. You might want to talk to them. They already have systems in place to contact all the schools in the nation, so might be a
And who is that?
that would be their I think it's Stemson company. They put the large cut engines in half in schools, and especially for shops. But they already have a place. I mean, they contact every school across the country, and they have relationships. It's mainly in certain departments, but they know budgets, they know schools. It might be just something to talk to them about their database and help change things. So.
Okay, thank you.
Love the app as well. I was just wondering if you would ever be interested in adding other features to it, such as snow days. I mean, this year
They can
was
manage
a
snow days.
disaster in Utah County because Traverse Mountain was getting dumped on and Provo was getting nothing, and so nobody knew what was going on. Are the kids going to school today? What's going on? So I was just wondering if you were ever interested in adding.
So in
that
our
functionality.
customizable features, you can add school days. What we don't have yet is that push out notification to parents ability. We have it to students, but not to parents.
Okay.
So,
That is something we are building shortly. So.
yeah. But those customizable details means that not everybody needs a snow day. Albuquerque doesn't, for instance. But yes, they can add that based on based on school needs. That's right. Other comments, questions? Good feedback so far. We love the feedback. Keep it coming.
Yeah, technical question, excuse me. How dependent is it on phone service quality?
So it works either phone or Wi-Fi. So it does need cell service or Wi-Fi, one or the other, to work well.
So if either of those are down, then it's out.
If
I mean,
both
both are
of them are down, it would be out. But it can use either one. It doesn't have to have both. Yeah. And that's an interesting problem because we were in a school in Murray at the very end of the school year where there is 0 cell service inside the building, and they've added repeaters for their Wi-Fi system, and it works in that system.
Would comment to that one, wouldn't, because I know that my wife is a school teacher, and the only way that you can get your phone on the Wi-Fi there is if you sign a lot of agreements to have the school monitor everything that's on your phone, and most students are not going to do that. So I would think that cell service is primarily the source going to be used for this, among the students at least.
It depends on the building, yeah. Some buildings don't have good cell service inside. So, but he points to an issue that we've talked to a lot of people about. Teachers don't always want to use their personal devices in a school setting because they have to sign away their rights for privacy. And so it is that issue that it doesn't work just on cells. It can work on any mobile device, laptops, desktops, but teachers are often reluctant to use their phones in a building. I would have gladly done that. I got stuck with some of the biggest behavior problem students as a math teacher who got many of those students for 2 hours. I would have used my cell phone because I needed help sometimes.
What universities have you talked to?
We haven't talked to universities to scale up to universities yet, but we will before we're done.
It seems to me that you know, there's a lot of young demographics. All of them have phones.
Yep.
It just seems like that would be an area where there would be early adopters compared to an elementary school or something like that.
So the issue for us with universities is just the campus size, and so we wanted to start a little smaller and then scale up, but we plan to get there. I agree with you. It's a big audience.
Any more questions? Okay, Kathy and Charles, the last question we'll ask is, what can the 1 Million Cups community do for you?
Give us exposure. That's one of the best things. Feedback today was great. Exposure is great. Talking to your friends who are in education would help. We're trying to get out into buildings, and again, with Utah not approving the school budgets, we've got an interesting barrier this year that doesn't usually occur. So word of mouth helps.
Thank you very much. Thanks.
Thank you.
Thank you.
All right. Thanks again, Kathy and Charles, and explaining SOS to us again. It's great to get a refresh on where you're at. Couple announcements that we have right now. We want to actually invite Jim up for just a few minutes, and he is our breakfast sponsor this morning. So thank you, Jim. We'll let you give us a little bit of background on what you do.
Thanks. Sorry for those people who starved last week. I was out, so I hope you survived. So I brought really good food this time, kolache, so you're safe. I'm here today representing UVU's Small Business Development Center, letting you know some of the free classes we have, some of the things that are available. We're that group that helps you get the traction. So when you have traction, then you can come here and get space. So we're like the prequel program and pre-program. Some real good programs going on right now. We're providing Wheeling BPI's course, which is really nice. All about psychographics. It's free. We're providing a lot of really nice new classes that are available. So just let us know, and we're there to help and support. Thanks.
And we are glad you're feeling better, Jim. Definitely. Wouldn't be the same. It's not the same without you. definitely. Look for that hat every week. All right. Make sure that you have downloaded the 1 Million Cups Provo app, that you've checked in. We're going to have the drawing for the tumbler at the end. Does anybody else have a quick announcement they'd like to make? Okay. Make sure you're following on Instagram as well. Also, we did not have our second presenter show up, unless I'm wrong. Does anyone want to claim that supplement? Okay. I didn't think he was here. So we have a volunteer to us every now and then. That'll happen, and that's okay. We just roll with it. Sometimes we offer it out to the crowd to see if anyone has a business that they want to get up and pitch and get some great feedback. So we have Spencer with Saveology that wants to take that opportunity today, so we'll turn the time back over to him.
It's always fun to pitch last minute, right? No, it's exciting. So the company that I'm introducing here is called Saveology. Before I do that, I want to give a shout out to Jim as well. I've been to his courses. They're really fun. Great introduction to entrepreneurship and helps kind of the creative juices flow as you figure out what you want to do with your business. And then also to RevRoad. I'm now a RevRoad portfolio company, and I've been working with them for the last month and a half. I've really enjoyed it. They offer great services, and I highly recommend it to anyone else who might be interested. So my name is Spencer Barkley. I've been working on this startup for the past 5 to 6 months. Some quick background on me. This is my 3rd or 4th startup, depending on how quickly you count failures. I did a previous one in credit repair. That one was moderately successful. Did another one in 401k management for small businesses. That one was much more successful. And I found an underlying theme between these 2 startups, and that was that overall, millennials are not financially fit, and millennials don't like to be stereotyped. And the only reason why I can make that claim is because I'm a millennial. And I can say that most of us, not all of us, need some financial help in one form or another. And there are hundreds of tools out there to help millennials get financially fit, and especially a lot of gimmicky things that you think might help them get back on track with their savings. Some of the things that scare me for millennials are that, on average right now, millennials have a net negative average savings rate. That means every year they're losing money instead of putting money away. And part of that is from student loan debt. Part of that, some people claim they're not making enough. But a lot of it's about how they manage their finances. So in addition to that net negative savings rate, they don't have estate plans, right? They're underinsured. They haven't started saving for retirement. And all of these things do more than just put them behind. They also cause stress. They cause stress for yourself, anxiety, and also for your relationships. And you have millennials starting out with young families. The last thing you want is additional stress on those relationships. So I look back at that time in credit repair and in estate planning and in 401k management, and I said, there's got to be an underlying cause that we can address. And I wanted to figure out what that was. And we started down a path a few months ago where we wanted to build a micro savings platform, thinking that the answer was to help them contribute small amounts at a time. I did hundreds of problem interviews and solution interviews. I did a lot of market research and a lot of surveys, and we found that that would help them. But we actually came away with a bigger takeaway, which was that goals and plans are what differentiate those who succeed financially from those who don't succeed financially. So this is what we decided to do. We decided to democratize financial planning, right? The traditional financial planning model is you go to a financial planner, you sit down with them for 20 hours, you provide them with a whole lot of documents. They come back in a week after they've prepared a 60-page financial plan for you that you may or may not ever read, and you pay them anywhere from $500 to $2,500. Now, is a struggling millennial going to go visit that financial planner? Probably not, right? They don't have the money to do that or don't think that they can find the money in it. So why don't we change that? Why don't we make financial planning free? That's the goal with what Saveology is doing. So what we want to do is we want a user to come to our site, and in 5 minutes, they answer some questions about themselves, and they get a completely customized and personalized financial plan, a holistic report card, and recommendations for what they need to do next in order to improve their finances. Right? We found in our market research they wanted to be told how to get started and how to prioritize. So that's what we're doing. We're telling them how to get started with life insurance or mortgages, right? We calculate what their life insurance gap is. Do they have enough of it? Do they have enough of an emergency fund? How much are they saving? Is that enough to get them to retirement? Where are they spending money? It's not just a budgeting app. It's about helping them identify what in their specific area is needed to improve. This also includes estate planning, which a lot of us forget about because we're young and we think we're invincible. So this is kind of a high-level view of what it looked like 3 months ago when we started planning it. And since then, we've made a lot of changes and improvements to the UI. I don't expect you to see everything that's up here, but this is where you land after you answer your 5 minutes worth of questions. You see your personalized recommendations, you see your report card, and then you can drill into your financial plan details to tell you what you need to do and where you are doing well. Right now, we have not done an online launch, right? So we've been testing offline. We built all the plans, the logic, the algorithms to make this work. We've worked with dozens of people to give them financial plans and to see how they act on them. We've built partnerships around that so that we could make money in those offline users, and we did. But the goal is obviously not to work with dozens of people. The goal is to work with hundreds of thousands of people. And so we are targeting a November launch right now, where we take everything we've done offline and all that learning, put it online, and we are currently on track to come in a little sooner than November. So we're really excited for that. So here's our business model. Free financial planning, doesn't cost you anything to come. You can fill in your information. We don't even take your last name or your social, so it's it's not personally identifiable, but we can still give you the recommendations that you need for free. Then we make money off of the recommendations that we give you for our partners. So if you choose to use one of our partners, which in turn is better for you because it gets you a discount and it's easier to implement, then they pay us some amount of money for doing that. Now, you could take our plans to anywhere, right? We could tell you, you need to get an extra $125,000 in life insurance. You can take them to any life insurance company and do that. It's still valuable to you. We just want to make it easier for you to do that through one of our partners so you can also do it in our system, and then we would make a little bit of money off of that. And then traction-wise, we've done a lot of work on this. It's taken months to plan. We've already worked with those offline customers. Then we've built key partnerships with groups like Ladder Life, a leader in life insurance digitally. Policy Genius, we have a signed agreement with them where they can broker any life insurance policy for us. Box Home Loans, we can recommend things like mortgage refinancing or getting a new mortgage, buying a home, selling a home, etc. And then estate planning, we have a law firm that's helping us with that. So once again, my name is Spencer Barkley, and the reason why I'm here and the reason why I chose to jump in last minute is because I love to get feedback on what people like to see in a financial plan, how this could help them, what they don't like about it, what our distribution channels can be, etc. So open to questions and feedback, and that's Saveology.
I'll send you the bunny for the kudos later. My only concern, I mean, I love what you're doing. We've talked about it before. It's a great program. My concern is hitting a November launch. If you're a student, I mean, I've got 4 millennials in my household, so I understand what you're talking about. They're going to hit that, new college loans, new debt, worrying about things, marriage. I'm just wondering, is that the best, really heavy, strong launch is that time of year? Have you done the research? Say, is this a strong launch, or is it better to wait after the holidays? You know, launch in January. My question is your data for the launch.
It's a really good question. So when I use the word launch, I think there are a lot of different connotations around it. We're not going to throw a giant party that says, here's Saveology. We're not going to throw out press releases that says, here's Saveology. As soon as we have the whole build done and tested, we are releasing to a few key partners. We have an employer that's releasing it to their employees, and we have a partner who's releasing it to their users, a bank that has 20 to 30,000 users that will be able to come into this. So that way we can test it. And then we can start leaking in some direct-to-consumer users and really refine what we're doing before we start the high-scale marketing. So November launch means November's when we're going to be done, and you could come use it at that point. Yep.
Do you have a website?
We do. So Saveology.com is the website. Right now it's just a landing page, which allows you to add your name to a wait list. But the new marketing website will launch in about 30 days, and then the web application connected to that will be about 60 days after that.
Okay. I went to the site, not seen anything. So
What's that?
I'm not seeing anything on the site, so you might want to
So
check that out.
it's a good question. Maybe it's down. Go to Saveology.com, not HTTPS.
All right. I'll check it out, but yeah, just some head.
Okay, thanks. And on Saveology.com, you can view the sample plans that we were using offline, like the front page of what the report card looks like and what a financial plan looks like, the information that's contained in it. But it's just a single landing page right now because we aren't public. And even coming to something like this, we're not trying to get users right now because we're not in the position to do that. But if you wanted to do an offline plan because you were really interested in how it works, then let me know, and I can definitely get you information to answer those questions and prepare a plan for you as well. What does customer activation look like, and what are you going to do with my private information? Yeah, sorry, was it customer activation? Is that what you're asking about? Yeah, good question. So one of the biggest things that we're trying to do and what we tested in our market research was what information can we request from them that they don't feel like is intrusive? Because they're providing financial information. And different from Credit Karma or Mint, which are two of the biggest free tools available, we don't request personally identifiable information. The most we request is your first name. So we have your first name. We don't have any account information. The other things you answer are like, are you married? Do you have any kids? How old are your kids? And then we do ask things about balances in certain accounts, but it can't be really tied back to you. And so I think that's the first thing that we're doing to help people acknowledge and accept that this free tool can be beneficial for them. But we don't sell any information, right? Now, the one exception to that will be our employers and our partners who provide this to their groups. Then we can tie those back to these employees and partners. And when it's rolled out to them, we aggregate that information for those partners. So if you choose to sign up through our bank partner, for example, you come to Saveology.com and it shows a co-branded bank there with it that says you're a bank customer. And then they can get it. They have a dashboard that says, here how your users are doing, right? So that they can identify ways to improve either their employees or their customers' information. For example, savings rates, et cetera, or to remarket products to them. But that all it happens through us so that they don't have to receive any personally identifiable information or even individualized information to know which person to market to. They don't have access to that.
So the revenue streams that are coming from the life insurance, is that a commission share or is that a leads fee that you're charging the insurance companies?
Yeah, so we're starting out everything as simple as possible, and the leads are the quickest way to do it as an affiliate relationship. So you have two different ways to do it, and they vary by our partners. Option one is just for clicking through, right? We can get paid for that because they know that some portion of those are going to convert. And then the other one is on cost per application, which doesn't mean that those people secure a policy, but it means that they fill out an application saying they're interested in it, and if they get approved, as in this life insurance will offer them a policy whether or not they bind it. That's the other way that we get paid on it. So we aren't going to become an insurance broker or a mortgage broker or an investment advisor. We can steer clear of each of those by doing it as a cost per lead basis.
So with that last one, how do you get around compliance issues with commission shares? Because that's
so as a cost per application, it's not a commission share. If it was a cost per binding of the policy, it's a commission share. A cost per application is another form of a lead basis. It's saying this is a qualified lead because we've received this person's information and it meets our minimum requirements.
So that requires a lot more information than you would get. So just a first name and birthday, there is more information that's required for a life insurance application. So how are you going to differentiate that security measure that you just shared? So how are you going to secure that?
Yeah, it's a really good question. So we don't store it. It goes to our partners. So if you choose to use one of our partners called Ladder Life, then we would introduce that partner to you in the site that says, hey, you need X amount of new insurance. Here's a partner that we use and why we recommend them. You would then click through to their site, and it goes to the ladderlife.com/Saveology, where you can choose to what degree you want to complete their application. It's their application. It's hosted in their environment. We don't receive any information back other than someone from this IP address completed an application, and therefore you get paid.
So what is the structure that you base that on? So that was 125 to 325, is that per person? What did you base that on?
Yeah, so that's based on the agreements that we have with them because we have multiple partners, right? So it's on, are they going to complete 2 applications, one with each partner? Are they going to complete 1 application just with one partner? The amounts vary by which partner they are. And so it doesn't matter about how much they're requesting an insurance, but Ladder Life pays a different amount than Policy Genius, and yet that same person could get an application through both of them, and we would get paid through both.
So I could see you being a millennial Dave Ramsey. You've got podcasts, I imagine. You could, and then they could do a Barkley kind of a discount, like a Dave Ramsey kind of thing. Do you visualize something like that?
Yeah, I don't really like to live in the public all that much, so I don't think that Dave Ramsey is the best fit for me. But what we do want to be is we want to be that trusted source like Dave Ramsey is, right? Dave Ramsey has a very unique financial planning methodology. He gives you this 0 to 10 steps, but it doesn't work for everyone. And that's what we've noticed is there are people that it works for, and the people that it does, that's great, but it doesn't work for everyone. And so our methodology is a little bit more mainstream so that it can apply to a broader group of people. And it's less about, hey, here are the 50 steps that you need to do. We give you the next 3 steps that you need to do at a time. So you don't just come here and find out how do I get all the way from A to Z at once and then choose what you do and don't want to do like you can do in a Dave Ramsey program. Instead, you look at, hey, here's the next thing that you need to do, right? We want to tell you how to get started and how to prioritize. And if you show too many things at once, it gets a little complex. It's not simple enough for the mainstream millennial. I agree. So content marketing is a big portion of what we want to do. It just won't be me, right? I won't be the one doing all of that. So we do have some people who are writing articles for us. My little brother's tried to convince me to do podcasts about 10 different times, even talked to some of Jim's buddies that do a podcasting company. I think that it's all in the future. There we go. So it is all a great idea, but we have to take it in bits, right? We have to choose where we want to commit our resources to. And I don't think podcasting will be from day one.
I think it sounds like an awesome idea. With as far as being a trusted source, I know with Credit Karma, which I also really like for checking my credit score, it feels like they just push everything they can at me with the credit card offers, and it's just like anything they could possibly sell, they're trying to. And so it makes that part of it not feel trusted. Right. Have you thought about that and how you'll approach
that? For sure. That's actually where I started, was because I'm an avid user of Credit Karma and Mint, and I can tell you I have never used a single one of their recommendations. I've been using their platforms for 5 years, and I get emails almost weekly that tell me to get a personal loan. Like, I have $85,000 of unused credit cards, and I need to get a personal loan? Like, that's not personalized. That's not going to help me get ahead. So what we do is we built the financial planning methodology first that makes the recommendations completely unbiased. And so what we're recommending for you to do is unbiased. What becomes, quote-unquote, biased or conflicted in some people's minds would be which partners we then recommend. So what we're telling them to do is, hey, we want you to take this step to improve your financial future. You can choose to do it through us or not, but go do it. You can mark it off in our system to move on just by saying, I've done this somewhere else. Because we want them to feel like they can come back and continue to get advice from us. But if they feel like it's easier to do it through us, that's what we want to do, right? A lot of people don't want to go out and shop the top 20 life insurance providers. And so if they want to use our recommendation system, then that's what we want to do. I personally have used each one of our partners so far. And the goal would be to have that continue through our team. I won't be able to personally use all of them. I can only have so many life insurance policies. But other people on our team will use and interact with these partners, so they're partners that we can trust and we can recommend. It's not based on who pays us the most. It's based on what we do. And then we provide them numerous partners, right? Right now it's only a few because we're really new. But eventually we can provide 50 different names, and you can pick which one you want based on our reviews of those providers and what works best for you. Good question.
So how many questions do you use to get the financial plan started? You said 5 or?
No, sorry, 5 minutes worth of questions. Okay. So the average user right now takes 5 minutes to complete it. I know my financial situation pretty well, so it takes me about 3, and mine's pretty complex. The total number of questions could be up to about 70, but some of those are just individual fields that you're filling out 10 at a time. But someone who has a more simple financial picture could be as few as 15 questions. And so, go ahead if you have a follow-on. So our goal is to get them through in 5 minutes. Right now in our testing, even on the offline version, we have some people that might take 6 or 7 minutes. But you have to gather enough information about them to be able to provide good recommendations, right? We're replacing 40 hours worth of traditional financial planning with 5 minutes of a questionnaire.
And so what is the activation rate, so to speak, of the people? Are they taking action on that? Because in this space, essentially what you're doing, you're taking the emotional side out of financial planning. I've been in the business for 16 years, and there's a lot of emotion that's involved. So I can come back with data, and if somebody's not emotionally invested, it's just like what you said. It's like, here's all these recommendations from Mint or Credit Karma or whatever. I'm not going to act on it because it's not emotional to me.
And I agree with that. And we're not trying to replace financial planning, because the reason we're doing this is because financial planning is effective. for the subset of users that use financial planning, right? So I would consider myself a great candidate for financial planning. I've been down that path before. I've talked to others who have been down that path before. But we're trying to reach the 95% of people that aren't a very good candidate for financial planning in their own mind. So we don't have the same emotional connection. Our activation rate right now is about 15% of them have actually used our partners to buy something. Now, everyone has used our plan, and we hope they benefit it from some way, but these are offline versions, so our testing data won't necessarily be indicative of what happens over a 1-year period of time. This is what happens within the first couple weeks of it. So it's worth reemphasizing financial planning is successful, and we love that emotional component, and our last 3 steps all have to do with visiting local financial planners. Planning for your taxes. We don't want to do that in a software. You can sit down, once you have already built your retirement scenario, you've built up money, you have money that then you can optimize, we want to send you to a financial planner, and we already have a partner who wants to do that. And then likewise on like investments. We don't recommend investments for you. When you're at the point where you can benefit from that, we want to recommend you to a financial advisor who can do that for you, because that's not our place. We're hoping to get them maybe 80 to 90% of the way there for people who, I mean, our average market's $50,000 to $60,000 a year that they're making, and if we can help them get to the point where they feel like they benefit from that advisor or planner, then not only have we succeeded, but we've helped your industry succeed as well.
Thanks, Spencer. One last question. What can the 1 Million Cups community do for you in Saveology?
Thank you. Feedback is probably the most important thing for me. If anyone is very involved in their personal finances and would like to get an offline plan, I'd be happy to build them one or just to walk them through our methodology, because the more people we can talk to, I can tell you every single plan I've prepared, I have found something to improve our methodology. Whether it's to change something or expand it into other things, I'd love to do that. I don't need introductions necessarily to things like investors, but feedback on our product is where we're going to be really successful. And if you don't want to give that feedback now or in the next couple weeks, then wait until we launch and run through it there, and there'll be plenty of opportunities to provide feedback as soon as we launch in November.
Thank you, Spencer. Let's give him a round of applause. Okay, so just really quick, Spencer, thank you. Great job. Kathy and Charles, again, thank you. Aaron has a quick announcement he'd like to pop up and make, and then we'll wrap up.
Quick indeed. Chocolate milk is available. Just like Spencer, we're really interested in feedback. We are at the very, very, very early stages of do people want this? If any of you are renting and want a home, or want another home and realize they're expensive, we'd love your feedback. We've got a meeting tomorrow night. We're at this end table. Come talk with us if you want to learn more about reducing your mortgage debt. Thank you.
Thank you, Aaron. Okay, so just a couple of things. I'm going to draw the winner here in about 2 minutes, so make sure you've checked in. We need and welcome and love to see applicants that want to apply and come up and pitch and present, and you've got a feel for the feedback you're going to get. I think the audience is the same but yet different every time, and so you're going to get different perspectives. It's a great, safe place to come and help get feedback from people in the community that want to help you succeed and maybe connect you with the right people, or whatever their feedback is. It's meant in the motive is to help you. Okay, so that's what we're doing here today. So make sure you get on the website. If you want to apply, it's 1millioncups.com/Provo. If you know someone that has a company that would be a great fit for 1 Million Cups, encourage them to go on and apply as well. Elisa and I get to take a look at the applicants, and we work with you on the dates that you can come and present. Really quickly, I'm going to put a little plug in for RevUp. Seth does a great job every Thursday here at RevRoad. It's free. It's open to the public. It's 4:30 to 5:30. It's an opportunity to come and just run through the validation process of your company before you spend money trying to validate. So take advantage of that. Sponsors, again, thank you to all of our sponsors. Jim, thanks for breakfast. It's wonderful. A lot of food over here, guys. We're thinking we might move it over here because a lot of you don't make it over here. So, yeah, but Jim likes that because he gets to take the extras home. So, don't be afraid to get up and go grab breakfast throughout the presentations, okay? Raffle. So let's go ahead and do that. We Let me pull up the names here. Somebody pick a number between 1 and 15. 14. Max Jensen. Max Jensen. Max, come on up. I would wash it first, but there you go. Okay, thanks again for coming, everyone. We'll see you next Wednesday.